Premier League's highlight match this weekend sees Arsenal host Manchester City on Monday. The odds on the outright are almost neck and neck. Arsenal 2.5, Man City 3, and the draw 3.6. Bet Victor. Nigel, are you confident enough to choose a side here?
Well, if you look behind me here, Natalie, you can see all the Arsenal memorabilia in my bedroom. So I'm going to look at this as a totally impartial fan and impartial view on this game. I've been to the Emirates most of the games this season, and if Arsenal win the Premier League, it's not Arsenal being the best team in the Premier League. It shows you how bad the Premier League season is. This isn't a great side. It's not a great side. They've been very lucky, fortunate in some matches as well. And when they usually play the big boys, like the Man Cities and the Manchester United goals, they come unstuck. But you know what? I have a sneaky feeling this might be honours evening. I really do. I think the draw here is one of the best bets. And one of the best bets I always say to people, when you're looking at betting, if you can't separate the two, as you said in the intro there, when the bookies can't separate two sides, why is the draw always the biggest price of three outcomes? If you ask 50 people on the street, 45 of them might turn around as the draw. The reason why is nobody ever bets the draw. Yeah. The last 2 years in this fixture, it's been a draw. This is going to be very, very close. Last year it was 2-2. It was a great game. The year before was 1-1. I can see this being really, really tight again. Very, very close. Just because we have two of the best attacking teams in the country doesn't necessarily mean we're going to see the most high-scoring game. Man City went to Manchester United. They drew 0-0 in the season. I think this is going to be really, really tight. A point now. Both managers will be happy for the point. Get into the Christmas period. Look forward to it. All to play for next year. But I think this is really, really close. And I think the draw's the value. And I think under 2.5 goals is another fantastic value bet this weekend.
I have to say, I'm slightly turning towards Arsenal at home. I actually think that one of the teams they won't be happy with the point. I think they are sort of rivals here. One of them will want the 3 points. Man City haven't actually beaten Arsenal in their last 4 head-to-head. So Arsenal at home does look like the obvious bet if you are going to pick Manchester City or Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, obviously both teams will be going for the win here. There's no doubt about it. But the trouble is that as the game goes on, they're going to get more and more involved in a tight game. You've got to go back a long, long time, the last time Manchester City won at Arsenal. And also there's been an awful lot of 0-0 draws. I remember sitting through one of the worst 90 minutes of football I remember a few years ago and watching a 0-0. I don't think Man City have ever beaten Arsenal at the Emirates in the Premier League and the Highbury as well. It's a long, long time since they won it. So it is, but I watch this Arsenal side week in and week out. They miss a real box winner. They miss somebody in that centre midfield who's going to win big matches like this. Yaya Toure now returns. He's a huge player for Man City. They haven't got Coquelin, he's injured. Flamini, for me, is not good enough. And they need someone to win games in midfield. When you get the top players, top teams in England, the game is won in midfield. And they haven't got that kind of player in the big games. They can boss teams like Norwich, they can boss teams like Stoke, they can boss teams like Sunderland. Against the big sides, they haven't got the player. The plus side for them, Alexis Sanchez may be back, which is good for them. We need Ozil to really put on a performance against a big side. I just think this looks like a draw. I really, really genuinely do. I don't think it's going to be a gun-ho affair. I think it's going to be like a game of chess. It's the biggest game of the season. And sometimes in football, the biggest game, the biggest hype, doesn't really live up to expectation. I have a terrible feeling this might turn into a non-event and this will be a 0-0 low-scoring draw.
All right, fantastic. 0-0 draw there. 2.5 for the under 2.5 goals, 2.1888 sport. Nigel, thank you for joining us.